The city of St. Louis, with its bustling streets and tall buildings, was a place of dreams and possibilities. It was here, in a small, cozy house, that a baby girl named Maya was born. The year was 1928, and the world was a very different place. Maya's parents, Bailey and Vivian, were filled with joy and hope when they held their little daughter for the first time. They imagined all the adventures she would have and the stories she would tell. Little did they know just how extraordinary her life would be. St. Louis was a city of contrasts. On one hand, it was vibrant and full of life, with jazz music playing in the streets and children laughing in the parks. On the other hand, it was a time of change and uncertainty. The Great Depression was just around the corner, and many families were struggling to make ends meet. Maya's family was no exception. Bailey worked long hours at the local factory, while Vivian tried to find work as a nurse. They wanted to give Maya and her older brother, Bailey Jr., the best life possible. But life was not always easy. The house they lived in was small but filled with love. Maya's grandmother would often visit, telling her stories of their ancestors and teaching her songs from their homeland. These moments were Maya's favorite. She would sit, wide-eyed, listening to every word, soaking in the wisdom and history. As Maya grew, she became curious about the world around her. She would often wander the streets of St. Louis, exploring every nook and cranny. She loved to watch the trains go by, imagining all the places they were headed. She would dream of traveling the world, meeting new people, and experiencing new cultures. But Maya's adventures in St. Louis were just the beginning. Her life would take many twists and turns, leading her to places she could only dream of. But through it all, she would carry the lessons and memories of her early years in St. Louis with her. Synopsis: embark on the inspiring journey of Maya Angelou, from her early life of adversity to becoming a voice of empowerment and change. A Songbird's Journey is a one-level story that captures the essence of one of history's most influential figures. One day, as Maya sat by the window, watching the world go by, she made a promise to herself. She would live her life to the fullest, never letting fear or doubt hold her back. She would use her voice to tell her story and the stories of those who came before her. And she would always remember her roots, the city of St. Louis, where it all began. The sun shone brightly over St. Louis, but for young Maya, some days felt cloudier than others. Growing up wasn't always easy, and she faced challenges that tested her spirit and determination. When Maya was just 3 years old, her parents' marriage began to crumble. The disagreements and arguments became too much, and they decided to separate. This decision would change Maya's life forever. She and her brother, Bailey Jr., were sent to live with their grandmother in the small town of Stamps, Arkansas. Stamps was a world away from the bustling streets of St. Louis. The town was quiet, with vast fields and open skies. For Maya, it was like stepping into a different universe. The pace was slower, and the people spoke with a distinct southern drawl. But the biggest challenge for Maya was adjusting to life without her parents. She missed her mother's warm embrace and her father's playful laughter. Nights were the hardest. She would lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering if they thought of her as she thought of them. Her grandmother, whom they affectionately called Mama, tried her best to fill the void. She ran the only store in the black part of Stamps and was a pillar of strength and wisdom. Mama taught Maya and Bailey Jr. the importance of hard work, respect, and faith. However, life in the South during the 1930s was not easy, especially for African Americans. Racism was rampant, and segregation was the norm. Maya often felt the sting of prejudice. She was too young to understand why people judged her by the color of her skin, but she felt the pain deeply. One day, while playing with her friends, a group of white children mocked and teased her. Maya ran home, tears streaming down her face. Mama held her close, whispering words of comfort. "Remember, my child," she said, "you are worthy. Don't let anyone make you feel otherwise." Bailey Jr. was Maya's rock during these challenging times. They shared a bond that was unbreakable. He would often make her laugh with his silly jokes and stories, reminding her that there was still joy to be found, even in the toughest moments. School became a refuge for Maya. She developed a love for books and reading. The words on the pages transported her to different worlds, where she could be anyone and do anything. Her teachers noticed her passion and encouraged her to write. Maya began penning her thoughts, feelings, and dreams, finding solace in the power of words. As the years went by, Maya's resilience grew. She faced many obstacles, from the pain of abandonment to the harsh realities of racism. But with the love and support of her family, and her own inner strength, she learned to rise above them. She would carry these lessons with her throughout her life, using her experiences to inspire and uplift others. Maya's childhood challenges were just the beginning of her incredible journey, a journey that would see her touch the hearts of millions around the world. The train chugged along, its wheels rhythmically clacking against the tracks. Maya and Bailey Jr. sat side by side, their small hands clutching their belongings. The journey from St. Louis to Stamps, Arkansas, felt like an adventure, but it was also tinged with uncertainty. As the city's skyline faded into the distance, the landscape began to change. Tall buildings were replaced by open fields, and the noise of traffic gave way to the chirping of birds. The South was a land of contrasts, with its vast plantations, dense forests, and meandering rivers. Maya pressed her face against the window, watching the world go by. She was both excited and nervous about this new chapter in their lives. What will Stamps be like, she wondered. Bailey Jr., sensing her apprehension, squeezed her hand reassuringly. "It'll be an adventure, Maya," he whispered. "We'll be okay." The children's thoughts were filled with memories of their parents and the life they had left behind in St. Louis. But they also held on to the hope that Stamps would offer them a fresh start, away from the challenges of their early years. As the train pulled into the Stamps station, the children were greeted by the familiar face of their grandmother, Mama. She stood tall and proud, her eyes shining with tears of joy. "Welcome home," she said, enveloping them in a warm embrace. The town of Stamps was unlike anything Maya had ever seen. It was small and close-knit, with dirt roads and wooden houses. Everyone seemed to know everyone, and there was a sense of community that was comforting. Mama's house was a modest, two-story building with a porch that overlooked the main street. It was here that she ran the town's general store, serving customers from dawn till dusk. Maya and Bailey Jr. quickly became familiar faces at the store, helping Mama with chores and getting to know the locals. Life in Stamps was simple but fulfilling. The days were marked by the rising and setting of the sun, and the seasons brought with them a rhythm of planting and harvest. Maya learned to appreciate the beauty of nature, from the vibrant colors of spring flowers to the golden hues of autumn leaves. But moving south also meant adjusting to a different way of life. The pace was slower, and traditions ran deep. Maya and Bailey Jr. had to navigate the complexities of Southern society, with its unwritten rules and expectations. They also encountered the harsh realities of segregation. The South was divided along racial lines, and the children quickly learned that there were places they couldn't go and things they couldn't do simply because of the color of their skin. Yet, amidst these challenges, there were moments of joy and connection. The children made friends, explored the countryside, and immersed themselves in the rich culture of the South. They listened to stories of their ancestors, sang gospel songs in church, and danced to the rhythm of the blues. As the days turned into weeks and weeks into months, Stamps began to feel like home. Maya and Bailey Jr. found strength in their bond with each other and with Mama. They realized that, no matter where they were, as long as they had family by their side, they could face any challenge. The sun was just beginning to rise, casting a soft golden glow over the town of Stamps. Inside Mama's house, the aroma of freshly baked bread wafted through the air. Maya and Bailey Jr. would often wake up to this comforting scent, a gentle reminder of the love and care that surrounded them. Mama, with her silver hair and wise eyes, was the heart and soul of the household. She was a woman of few words, but when she spoke, her words carried weight and wisdom. Every day with her was a lesson in life, love, and resilience. One of Maya's fondest memories was helping Mama in the garden. The backyard was a haven of green, filled with vegetables, fruits, and flowers. As they planted seeds and watered the plants, Mama would share stories from her youth, tales of hope and hardship. "Life is like this garden," she would say, pointing to the plants around them. "With love, care, and patience, you can make anything grow." Bailey Jr. loved listening to Mama's stories about their ancestors. She spoke of brave men and women who faced adversity with courage and determination. "Remember where you come from," she would tell the children. "Your roots run deep, and they give you strength." But it wasn't just through words that Mama taught them. Her actions spoke louder. Running the only store in the black part of Stamps was no easy task. Yet, every day, she would open the doors with a smile, serving her customers with kindness and respect. Maya admired Mama's grace and poise, especially in the face of prejudice. There were times when white customers would speak rudely to her or refuse to pay. But Mama never lost her temper. Instead, she would respond with dignity, reminding Maya that hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that. One day, after a particularly challenging encounter at the store, Maya asked Mama how she remained so calm. Mama took her hand and said, "Child, anger is like a heavy stone. If you carry it with you, it will weigh you down. But if you let it go, you can rise above." Bailey Jr. often marveled at Mama's unwavering faith. Every Sunday, they would attend church, where Mama was a pillar of the community. She believed in the power of prayer and often said that with God by your side, you can overcome any obstacle. As the years went by, the lessons from Grandma became the foundation of Maya and Bailey Jr.'s lives. They learned the importance of kindness, humility, and perseverance. They understood the value of family and the strength that came from their roots. But perhaps the most important lesson of all was one of hope. No matter how dark the days seemed, Mama always believed in a brighter tomorrow. And she instilled in the children the belief that, with love and faith, they could achieve anything they set their minds to. Maya and Bailey Jr. would carry these lessons with them throughout their lives, drawing strength from Mama's wisdom and love. For in her words and actions, they found the blueprint for a life well lived. The sun hung high in the sky, casting long shadows on the streets of Stamps. Birds chirped merrily, and children played without a care. But for Maya, the world had suddenly become a much darker place. It started as an ordinary day. Maya was playing with her friends when a man, known to her family, approached her. He spoke in soft, honeyed tones, luring her with promises of candy and treats. Innocent and trusting, Maya followed him,
not realizing the danger she was in.
What happened next would change her life forever. The man betrayed her trust in the most horrific way, leaving Maya traumatized and broken. She felt a pain so deep, it was as if her very soul had been wounded. Confused and scared, Maya confided in her brother, Bailey Jr. He was filled with rage and sorrow, vowing to protect his sister at all costs. The truth eventually came out, and the man was arrested.
But the damage was done.
Maya was left with scars that ran deeper than any physical wound.
The aftermath of the incident was tumultuous.
The man met a tragic end, and whispers of the event spread through the town like wildfire. People looked at Maya with a mix of pity and curiosity, making her feel even more isolated. But the most profound impact of the trauma was on Maya's voice. She became mute, unable to speak a single word. It was as if the weight of the experience had stolen her voice, leaving her trapped in a world of silence.
Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. Maya's family tried everything to help her find her voice again.
They consulted doctors, therapists, and spiritual healers. But nothing seemed to work. Maya remained locked in her silent world, her once vibrant spirit dimmed. Mama, ever the pillar of strength, refused to give up. She believed that with time, love, and patience, Maya would find her way back. She would read to Maya, sing to her, and pray with her, hoping to reignite the spark within. Bailey Jr. was Maya's constant companion, supporting her every step of the way. He would communicate with her through gestures and drawings, creating a secret language that only they understood. Their bond grew even stronger, forged in the fires of adversity.
Yet, amidst the darkness, there was a glimmer of hope. Maya discovered a refuge in books.
She would spend hours reading, losing herself in the stories and characters. The words on the pages became her voice, allowing her to express herself in ways she couldn't before. As the seasons changed, so did Maya. The pain and trauma began to fade, replaced by a newfound strength and resilience. She realized that while she couldn't change the past, she could shape her future. And with the love and support of her family, she was determined to find her voice once more. In the heart of Stamps, amidst the hustle and bustle, Maya's silence was a profound statement. While the world continued its noisy dance around her, she found solace in the quiet spaces of her mind. The silence wasn't just an absence of words, it was a world of its own. In this world, Maya could reflect, dream, and heal. She listened more intently, observed more keenly, and felt more deeply. The chirping of the birds, the rustling of the leaves, and the distant hum of conversations became melodies to her ears.
Mama often said, in silence, we find our true selves. And for Maya, this couldn't be more accurate.
Without the distraction of speech, she became more in tune with her emotions and thoughts. She journaled extensively, pouring her feelings onto paper. These writings became a testament to her journey, a map of her soul's evolution.
Bailey Jr. watched his sister with admiration. He saw the strength in her silence and recognized the power it held. He would often sit with her, sharing in the quiet moments, understanding that sometimes words were unnecessary. One day, while exploring the town's library, Maya stumbled upon a book of poetry. The verses resonated with her, speaking to her heart. She began to memorize them, reciting them in her mind, feeling the rhythm and flow of the words. Poetry became a bridge, connecting her silent world with the world of expression. Mrs. Bertha Flowers, a kind and educated woman from the community, noticed Maya's love for books. She took the young girl under her wing, introducing her to the world of literature. They would spend hours discussing authors, themes, and the beauty of language. It was during one of these sessions that Mrs. Flowers gave Maya a challenge.
"Words have power," she said.
"And I believe it's time for you to reclaim yours."
She encouraged Maya to recite a poem aloud, to break the chains of her silence.
With trepidation, Maya chose a poem she loved.
As she began to recite, the words felt foreign on her lips.
But with each line, her confidence grew.
The power of the words, combined with the strength of her own voice, was transformative. By the end of the poem, tears streamed down both their faces.
Maya had found her voice again.
The journey back to speech was not easy, but it was profound.
Maya learned that silence had its own language, its own power.
It gave her the space to heal, to grow, and to discover her true self. As the years went by, Maya's voice became a force to be reckoned with. She used it to tell her story, to advocate for change, and to inspire others. The little girl from Stamps, who once lost her voice, became a beacon of hope for many. And through it all, she carried with her the lessons of her silence. She understood that sometimes, in the quietest moments, we find our loudest voice. The town of Stamps was alive with the sounds of music. From the soft melodies of church hymns to the lively beats of street performers, music was an integral part of life. For young Maya, it was the rhythm of dance that captured her heart.
It began on a warm summer evening.
The community had gathered for a local festival, and the air was filled with excitement.
Stalls lined the streets, offering delicious treats and handmade crafts. Children ran around with laughter, and adults chatted animatedly.
At the center of the festival was a makeshift stage. As the sun began to set, a group of dancers took their positions. The music started, a vibrant blend of drums and strings, and the dancers moved in harmony. Their bodies swayed, twirled, and leaped, telling stories with every gesture.
Maya watched, mesmerized.
The grace and passion of the dancers stirred something deep within her. She felt the music coursing through her veins, urging her to move. Without realizing it, she found herself swaying to the rhythm, her feet tapping in time with the beat. A kind woman from the crowd noticed Maya's enthusiasm and beckoned her to join. Hesitant at first, Maya soon found herself on stage, dancing alongside the performers. The crowd cheered and clapped, encouraging her every step of the way. That evening, a spark was ignited. Maya had discovered the joy of dance. Eager to learn more, she sought out dance classes in town. She was introduced to Ms. Eleanor, a seasoned dancer with a wealth of experience. Under her guidance, Maya began to hone her skills. She learned the basics of ballet, tap, and modern dance, immersing herself in the world of movement. Every evening after school, Maya would practice. The living room of Mama's house became her dance studio. Bailey Jr. would often join, playing music on an old record player and cheering her on. The two siblings would dance the night away, lost in the magic of the moment. As the months went by, Maya's talent became evident. She had a natural grace and fluidity that set her apart. Ms. Eleanor recognized her potential and encouraged her to pursue dance more seriously. With her mentor's support, Maya began to perform at local events and competitions. She danced with a passion and intensity that captivated audiences. Her performances were not just about technique, they were a reflection of her soul. Through dance, Maya expressed her joys, sorrows, hopes, and dreams. Word of her talent spread, and soon, opportunities came knocking. Maya was invited to join a traveling dance troupe, performing in cities across the country. It was a chance to share her love for dance with a wider audience and to learn from seasoned professionals.
But the decision was not easy. Leaving Stamps meant leaving behind her family and the comfort of home. Yet, the call of the dance was too strong to resist. With Mama's blessings and Bailey Jr.'s encouragement, Maya embarked on a new adventure. She joined the dance troupe, traveling to new places and meeting new people. The world became her stage, and dance became her language. And so, the girl from Stamps, with dreams in her eyes and rhythm in her feet, set out to dance her way through life. The bright lights of the stage shone down, illuminating the performers in their colorful costumes. The audience sat in hushed anticipation, waiting for the show to begin. This was no ordinary performance, it was Porgy and Bess, a renowned musical that had captivated audiences worldwide. And among the talented cast was Maya, ready to embark on one of the most significant journeys of her life. Maya had been dancing for several years when the opportunity to join the Porgy and Bess International Tour presented itself. The musical, with its powerful story and memorable songs, was a sensation. Being part of such a production was a dream come true for any artist. Rehearsals were intense. Every day, from morning till night, the cast practiced their lines, songs, and dance routines. Maya was determined to give her best. She poured her heart and soul into every movement, striving for perfection. The camaraderie among the cast members was palpable. They were a diverse group, hailing from different backgrounds and cultures, but they shared a common passion for the arts. Friendships were forged, stories were shared, and together, they created magic on stage. The tour began in the United States, with performances in major cities. Audiences were enthralled by the powerful narrative and the stellar performances. Maya's dance sequences, in particular, were met with thunderous applause. Her grace, energy, and emotion resonated with viewers, earning her accolades and admiration. But the real adventure began when the troupe traveled overseas. They performed in Europe, Africa, and Asia, bringing Porgy and Bess to audiences who had never experienced it before. For Maya, this was an eye-opening experience. She was introduced to new cultures, languages, and traditions. Every city, every theater, and every audience was a new learning opportunity. In Italy, she marveled at the ancient architecture and indulged in authentic pasta dishes. In Egypt, she stood in awe before the pyramids, pondering the mysteries of the past. And in Japan, she learned traditional dance moves, adding them to her repertoire. However, touring was not without its challenges. The constant travel was exhausting, and being away from home took its toll. There were moments of homesickness, where Maya longed for the familiar comforts of Stamps and the warmth of her family. But the love and support of her fellow cast members kept her going. They became her second family, understanding the highs and lows of life on the road. Together, they celebrated successes and comforted each other during tough times. As the tour progressed, Maya grew not just as a performer but also as a person. She became more confident, more worldly, and more open-minded. She realized that dance was a universal language, one that transcended borders and connected people. The Porgy and Bess tour was a milestone in Maya's life. It gave her a platform to showcase her talent and a chance to explore the world. But more importantly, it taught her valuable life lessons about perseverance, friendship, and the power of art. As the curtains fell on the final performance, Maya took a moment to reflect. She was grateful for the journey, for the memories, and for the dance of life that had brought her here. The city lights twinkled like a sea of stars as Maya walked through the bustling streets. Life had taken her on many adventures, from the stages of renowned theaters to the heart of foreign lands. But now, she was on the brink of her most profound journey yet, motherhood. It all began with a whirlwind romance. Maya had met a charming young man named Clyde during one of her performances. He had a gentle smile and a passion for poetry, much like her. Their shared interests and dreams drew them together, and before long, they were deeply in love. As the months passed, their bond grew stronger. They shared laughter, dreams, and hopes for the future. And then, one fateful day, Maya discovered she was expecting a child. The news filled her with a mix of emotions: joy, anticipation, and a touch of fear. Becoming a mother was a responsibility she hadn't fully prepared for. The pregnancy was a roller coaster of emotions. Maya experienced the joys of feeling her baby kick and the challenges of morning sickness. She read books on motherhood, seeking wisdom and guidance. And through it all, Clyde stood by her side, offering love and support. As the due date approached, Maya's excitement grew. She prepared a cozy nursery, filled with soft blankets, colorful toys, and books. She imagined the lullabies she would sing and the stories she would tell her child. And then, the day arrived. After hours of labor, Maya held her baby boy for the first time. She named him Guy, a strong name for her little warrior. As she looked into his eyes, she felt a love so profound, it took her breath away. It was a love that was pure, unconditional, and boundless. The early days of motherhood were a blur of sleepless nights, diaper changes, and endless cuddles. Maya was in awe of the tiny life she had brought into the world. Every smile, every coo, and every tiny grasp of her finger filled her with joy. But motherhood also brought its challenges. Maya had to balance her responsibilities as a mother with her career as a performer. There were times when she felt overwhelmed, torn between her love for Guy and her passion for the arts. Yet, with the support of her family and friends, Maya found her rhythm. She learned to juggle her roles as a mother, artist, and woman. She discovered the joys of reading bedtime stories, taking long walks in the park, and watching Guy take his first steps. As the years went by, Maya's bond with her son grew stronger. They shared adventures, explored the world, and faced challenges together. Guy became her anchor, her source of strength and inspiration. Becoming a mother transformed Maya in ways she had never imagined. It taught her about sacrifice, patience, and the depths of love. It gave her a new perspective on life, one that was richer and more meaningful. And as she looked back on her journey, Maya realized that motherhood was her greatest adventure yet. It was a dance of love, a song of joy, and a story that would last a lifetime. The sun cast a warm glow over the city as Maya sat in her favorite park, watching Guy play with other children. His laughter echoed with pure joy, a sound that always warmed her heart. But as she watched him, her mind wandered to the complexities of her own relationships. After Guy's birth, Maya's relationship with Clyde began to change. The initial euphoria of love and the shared joy of parenthood slowly gave way to the realities of life. They had disagreements over parenting styles, career choices, and future plans. The pressures of balancing work, love, and a new baby took a toll on their bond. Maya often found herself torn between her responsibilities as a mother and her desires as a woman. She yearned for companionship, understanding, and a partner who would stand by her side through life's ups and downs. But her relationship with Clyde was becoming more strained with each passing day. One evening, after a particularly heated argument, Maya took a long walk to clear her mind. The city lights shimmered in the distance, and the cool breeze offered a momentary respite from her troubles. She pondered the nature of love and relationships. Was love meant to be this challenging? Could two people, no matter how much they cared for each other, drift apart? As the days turned into weeks, Maya and Clyde tried to mend their relationship.
They attended counseling sessions, went on date nights, and tried to rekindle the spark that once burned brightly. But despite their efforts, the distance between them grew. Eventually, they made the painful decision to part ways. It was a difficult time for Maya, filled with tears, heartache, and uncertainty. But she knew that for the sake of their son and their own well-being, it was the right choice. Being a single mother brought its own set of challenges. Maya had to navigate the world of parenting, work, and relationships on her own. But with the support of her family and friends, she found the strength to move forward. She focused on her bond with Guy, ensuring he felt loved and secure despite the changes in their lives. They created new traditions, explored the city together, and built a life filled with love and laughter. As time went on, Maya ventured into the world of dating. She met interesting people, experienced the joys of new relationships, and learned valuable lessons about love and compatibility. Some relationships were short-lived, while others left a lasting impact on her heart. Through it all, Maya realized that love was a journey, not a destination. It was about growth, understanding, and finding someone who complemented you. She learned the importance of communication, trust, and mutual respect in a relationship. And as she watched Guy grow into a young man, she hoped to instill in him the same values. She wanted him to understand the complexities of love, the beauty of genuine connections, and the importance of self-worth in relationships. Maya's journey through love and motherhood was filled with highs and lows. But it was a journey she cherished, for it shaped her into the strong, resilient, and loving woman she became. The vast Atlantic Ocean stretched out before Maya as she stood on the deck of the ship. The gentle sway of the vessel and the salty breeze signaled the beginning of a new chapter in her life. With Guy by her side, Maya was embarking on a journey to the heart of Africa, Ghana. The decision to move to Ghana was not taken lightly. Maya had always felt a deep connection to her African roots. The stories of her ancestors, the rich history, and the vibrant cultures of the continent had always fascinated her. And now, amidst the civil rights movement in America, she felt a pull towards the motherland. Ghana, a beacon of hope and progress in West Africa, had recently gained independence. Under the leadership of President Kwame Nkrumah, the nation was on a path of growth and transformation. Maya was drawn to Ghana's vision of Pan-Africanism, a dream of unity and solidarity among African nations. As the ship docked in the port of Accra, the capital city, Maya and Guy were greeted by a cacophony of sounds. The bustling markets, the lively music, and the chatter of people going about their day created a symphony of life. The city was a blend of tradition and modernity. Majestic colonial buildings stood alongside mud brick houses. Women in colorful Kent cloth sold fruits and crafts in the markets, while children played soccer in the streets. Maya and Guy quickly settled into their new home. They were welcomed by the local community with open arms. The warmth and hospitality of the Ghanaian people touched their hearts. They learned about the local customs, enjoyed traditional dishes like jollof rice and fufu, and danced to the beats of highlife music. But life in Ghana was not without its challenges. Maya had to navigate the complexities of being an African American in Africa. She grappled with questions of identity, belonging, and the legacy of the African diaspora. She often found herself in deep conversations with fellow expatriates, exploring the nuances of their shared experiences. Guy, too, was on a journey of discovery. He attended school in Accra, making friends from diverse backgrounds. He learned about Ghana's history, its struggles, and its aspirations. The stories of brave warriors, ancient kingdoms, and the fight for independence inspired him. Maya soon became involved in the local arts scene. She collaborated with Ghanaian writers, poets, and musicians, creating a fusion of African and African American art. Her work resonated with both locals and expatriates, earning her acclaim and respect.
As the months turned into years, Ghana became a second home for Maya and Guy.
They traveled across the country, from the lush rainforests of the Ashanti region to the historic slave forts of Cape Coast. They witnessed the beauty, resilience, and spirit of the Ghanaian people.
Yet, amidst the adventures, Maya never forgot her roots.
She stayed connected to the civil rights movement in America, using her voice and platform to advocate for justice and equality. Ghana was more than just a place of residence for Maya, it was a source of inspiration, growth, and transformation. It was here that she deepened her understanding of her African heritage, forged lifelong friendships, and found a renewed sense of purpose. The vibrant colors of the Ghanaian sunset painted the sky as Maya sat in a local gathering, listening intently to the passionate discussions around her.
The topic? Pan-Africanism, a movement that aimed to unite Africans across the continent and the diaspora.
For Maya, this was more than just a political ideology, it was a journey of self-discovery and connection.
In Ghana, the spirit of Pan-Africanism was palpable.
The country, under the leadership of President Kwame Nkrumah, was championing the cause of African unity. Nkrumah believed that for Africa to truly be free, its nations needed to come together, share resources, and uplift each other.
Maya was deeply inspired by this vision.
She attended conferences, seminars, and workshops, eager to learn more and contribute to the movement. She met intellectuals, activists, and leaders from across Africa, each bringing their unique perspective to the table. One such encounter was with W.E.B. Du Bois, the renowned African American scholar and civil rights activist. Du Bois had moved to Ghana in his later years, and his writings on Pan-Africanism had greatly influenced Maya.
Their discussions were rich and enlightening, bridging the gap between the African and African American experiences. Maya also connected with fellow African Americans who had made Ghana their home.
They formed a close-knit community, sharing stories of their homeland, their struggles, and their hopes for the future. Together, they explored the complexities of their identity, finding solace in their shared heritage.
But it wasn't just intellectual discussions that drew Maya to Pan-Africanism.
She embraced the culture, music, and traditions of Ghana. She learned to dance to the rhythms of African drums, tasted the diverse cuisines, and wore the vibrant fabrics of West Africa. Every experience deepened her bond with the continent. Guy, too, was immersed in this cultural exchange. He attended school with children from various African countries, learning about their customs, languages, and histories.
He played soccer in the streets, celebrated local festivals, and formed friendships that would last a lifetime. One of the highlights of Maya's time in Ghana was the Pan-African Festival.
Artists, musicians, and leaders from across the continent gathered in Accra to celebrate African unity. The city was alive with music, dance, and art, showcasing the rich tapestry of African cultures. Maya performed at the festival, reciting her poems that spoke of love, freedom, and identity. Her words resonated with the audience, earning her a standing ovation. It was a moment of validation, a testament to the power of art in bridging cultural divides. As the years went by, Maya's commitment to Pan-Africanism only grew stronger. She used her voice and platform to advocate for African unity, both in Ghana and abroad.
She believed that by coming together, Africans could overcome the challenges of colonialism, racism, and economic disparity.
Looking back, Maya often reflected on her time in Ghana as a transformative period in her life. It was here that she truly understood the meaning of Pan-Africanism, not just as a political movement but as a way of life. It was a call to unity, a celebration of diversity, and a vision of a brighter future for Africa. The sun was setting, casting a golden hue over the city as Maya made her way to a small community center in Harlem. She had been invited to a gathering of civil rights activists, and the highlight of the evening was to be a speech by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Maya had heard much about this charismatic leader, and she was eager to meet him in person. The community center was buzzing with excitement. People from all walks of life had gathered, united by a shared dream of equality and justice. There was a sense of anticipation in the air, a feeling that they were on the brink of something monumental. As Maya took her seat, she looked around, recognizing many faces from the movement. There were activists, students, and community leaders, all passionately discussing strategies and sharing stories of their experiences. Then, a hush fell over the crowd as Dr. King took the stage. He stood tall, exuding an aura of calm and confidence. As he began to speak, his voice, deep and resonant, filled the room. He spoke of a dream, a vision of an America where all citizens, regardless of their race or background, lived in harmony. Maya was captivated. Dr. King's words resonated with her deeply. His message of nonviolence, love, and unity echoed her own beliefs. She felt a connection, a shared purpose, and a renewed sense of hope. After the speech, there was a reception, and Maya had the opportunity to meet Dr. King. Their conversation was brief but impactful. They spoke about the challenges of the movement, the importance of perseverance, and the power of collective action. Dr. King expressed his admiration for Maya's writings and her commitment to the cause. For Maya, this meeting was a turning point. She felt inspired and motivated to play a more active role in the civil rights movement. She realized that change was possible, but it required dedication, sacrifice, and unity. In the days that followed, Maya immersed herself in the movement. She attended rallies, participated in marches, and used her voice to raise awareness about the injustices faced by African Americans. She collaborated with other activists, sharing ideas and strategies, and together, they worked towards a brighter future. The meeting with Dr. King also had a profound impact on Maya's personal life. She began to reflect on her own experiences, her struggles, and her journey. She realized that her story was not just her own, it was a reflection of the larger African American experience. This realization inspired her to pen her autobiography, capturing the essence of her life in the broader context of the civil rights movement. As the years went by, Maya often looked back on that fateful evening in Harlem. The memory of Dr. King's words and the fire in his eyes stayed with her, guiding her through the challenges and triumphs of her life. She realized that meeting Dr. King was not just an encounter with a great leader, it was a rendezvous with destiny. The streets of America were alive with chants, songs, and the collective voice of a people demanding change. The civil rights movement was in full swing, and Maya, having returned from Ghana, found herself at the heart of this historic upheaval. Maya had always been passionate about justice and equality. Her experiences in Africa had deepened her understanding of racial dynamics and the need for unity. Now, back in her homeland, she was ready to contribute to the cause. She began by attending rallies and protests, standing shoulder to shoulder with fellow activists. The energy at these gatherings was palpable. People from all walks of life came together, united by a common goal: to end racial segregation and discrimination. One of the most influential figures of the movement was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. His vision of a society where people were judged by their character and not the color of their skin resonated with many, including Maya. She had the opportunity to meet Dr. King and was deeply inspired by his commitment to nonviolence and his dream of a just society.
But Maya's activism wasn't limited to attending rallies.
She used her skills as a writer and speaker to raise awareness about the issues facing African Americans. She wrote articles, gave speeches, and participated in discussions, highlighting the injustices of the system and advocating for change. Her home became a hub for activists and thinkers. Leaders of the movement, artists, and intellectuals would gather to strategize, share ideas, and find solace in each other's company. These gatherings were a mix of serious discussions and moments of joy, as they celebrated the small victories along the way.
Maya also collaborated with other prominent figures in the movement, like Malcolm X.
While their approaches differed, their goal was the same: to uplift the African American community and ensure their rights were recognized and respected. One of Maya's most significant contributions was her work with the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, SCLC. She helped organize events, raise funds, and spread the message of the movement. Her dedication and passion were evident to all who worked with her. But activism came with its challenges. Maya faced criticism, threats, and even physical danger.
Yet, she remained undeterred.
She believed in the cause and was willing to make sacrifices for the greater good.
As the movement gained momentum, there were moments of triumph.
The Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act were passed, signaling a shift in the nation's consciousness. But there were also moments of heartbreak, like the assassination of Dr.
King.
Through the highs and lows, Maya remained steadfast, channeling her grief and anger into her work.
Looking back, Maya often reflected on the importance of the civil rights movement in shaping America's history.
It was a testament to the power of collective action, the resilience of the human spirit, and the enduring hope for a better future. For Maya, activism was more than just a part of her life, it was a calling. She believed in the power of words and actions to bring about change. And through her advocacy, she left an indelible mark on the movement and the nation. The soft hum of the typewriter echoed in the room as Maya sat, lost in thought. Sheets of paper, filled with scribbles and edits, lay scattered around her.
She was on a mission, a journey of self-exploration and storytelling.
She was penning her first autobiography, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. The idea of writing her life story had been brewing in Maya's mind for a while. Her experiences, from the challenges of her childhood to her adventures in Africa, were rich with lessons and insights. Friends and fellow writers had often encouraged her to share her story with the world. One day, while having a conversation with a renowned editor, Maya was challenged to write an autobiography that could be considered a piece of literature. The idea intrigued her. Could she weave her personal tales into a narrative that resonated with readers, transcending the boundaries of a typical memoir? With this challenge in mind, Maya began the arduous task of revisiting her past. She delved deep into her memories, recalling the joys, sorrows, triumphs, and traumas. She remembered her childhood in stamps, the love and wisdom of Mama, the pain of abandonment, and the solace she found in books. She wrote about her teenage years, the birth of her son Guy, and her quest for identity and purpose. She recounted her travels, her encounters with influential figures, and her immersion in the civil rights movement. But writing this book was not just a chronological recounting of events. Maya wanted to capture the emotions, the lessons, and the essence of her journey. She wanted readers to feel her pain, her joy, her resilience, and her growth.
The title, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, was inspired by a poem by Paul Laurence Dunbar.
It encapsulated the theme of the book, the idea of freedom, both physical and emotional. Just like the caged bird that sings of hope and dreams, Maya's spirit remained unbroken despite the challenges she faced. As she wrote, Maya often grappled with the vulnerability of sharing her personal experiences. There were moments of doubt and hesitation. But she believed in the power of her story. She knew that by sharing her truth, she could inspire, heal, and empower others. After months of writing, editing, and refining, the manuscript was finally complete. Maya held the finished product in her hands, a mix of pride and anticipation. She had poured her heart and soul into these pages, and now it was time to share it with the world. I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings was published to critical acclaim. Readers from all walks of life connected with Maya's story. They saw reflections of their own struggles, dreams, and aspirations in her words. The book became a beacon of hope, a testament to the human spirit's ability to overcome adversity. For Maya, the success of the book was not just about accolades and recognition. It was a validation of her journey, her experiences, and her voice. She had emerged, not just as a writer, but as a beacon of inspiration for generations to come. The morning sun streamed through the windows as Maya sat at her desk, sipping her morning tea. Beside her lay a stack of newspapers and magazines, each bearing reviews and discussions about her newly published autobiography, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. The world had taken notice, and the response was overwhelming. Within weeks of its release, the book had climbed bestseller lists across the country. Readers from different backgrounds, ages, and cultures were drawn to Maya's story. Bookstores struggled to keep up with the demand, and reading clubs were abuzz with discussions about the memoir. Critics hailed it as a masterpiece. They praised Maya's candidness, her lyrical prose, and her ability to weave a compelling narrative. The book was lauded for its honest portrayal of the African American experience, its exploration of themes like identity, racism, and resilience, and its universal appeal. But it wasn't just the literary world that was captivated. Schools and universities began incorporating the book into their curriculums. Teachers saw it as a valuable tool to discuss issues of race, gender, and society. Students found inspiration in Maya's journey, drawing parallels with their own struggles and aspirations. Maya began receiving letters from readers around the world. Some wrote to express their admiration, while others shared their personal stories, drawing connections with her experiences. Many thanked her for giving them a voice, for articulating feelings they had struggled to express. One particular letter stood out to Maya. It was from a young girl in South Africa, who wrote about the challenges of growing up during the apartheid era. She spoke of the discrimination she faced, the dreams she harbored, and the solace she found in Maya's words. The letter was a poignant reminder of the book's global impact. As the months went by, invitations poured in for Maya to speak at events, conferences, and literary festivals. She traveled across the country and beyond, sharing her insights, discussing the themes of her book, and advocating for social change. During one such event, a young woman approached Maya with tears in her eyes. She spoke of her own traumatic experiences and how the book had given her the courage to confront her past and seek healing. It was moments like these that made Maya realize the profound impact her words had on people's lives. However, the journey was not without its challenges. Some critics questioned the authenticity of certain events in the book, while others felt it was too raw and explicit. Maya faced these criticisms with grace and poise, standing by her truth and the importance of sharing it. As the years went by, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings cemented its place as a literary classic. It was translated into multiple languages, adapted into plays and films, and continued to inspire generations of readers. For Maya, the book was more than just a memoir. It was a testament to the power of storytelling, the importance of authenticity, and the ability of words to heal, empower, and transform. She had not only emerged as a celebrated writer but had also touched countless lives, leaving an indelible mark on the literary world.
The bright lights of Hollywood beckoned as Maya stepped onto the bustling set.
She had always been a storyteller, using her words to paint vivid pictures. But now, she was exploring a new medium, acting. The world of cinema and theater offered her a chance to bring stories to life in a whole new way.
Maya's journey into acting began with a chance encounter.
While attending a party in Los Angeles, she met a renowned film director who was captivated by her charisma and presence. He saw potential in her and offered her a small role in his upcoming movie. Maya, always eager to embrace new challenges, accepted. On the set, she was a natural. Her ability to convey emotions, from the subtlest of expressions to the most dramatic of gestures, was remarkable. The cast and crew were impressed by her dedication and talent. That small role became her stepping stone into the world of Hollywood. Soon, more offers came her way. Maya took on diverse roles, from powerful protagonists to compelling supporting characters. She worked alongside some of the biggest names in the industry, learning and growing with each project.
But it wasn't just the silver screen that caught Maya's attention.
The allure of Broadway was irresistible. The live audience, the immediacy of theater, and the magic of stage performances drew her in. She auditioned for a play in New York and was selected for a lead role.
Night after night, she graced the stage, captivating audiences with her performances.
The applause, the standing ovations, and the glowing reviews were a testament to her prowess as an actress. One of her most memorable roles was in a play that explored the complexities of love, identity, and societal norms. Maya's portrayal of a strong, independent woman resonated with many, earning her accolades and admiration.
Off the stage and sets, Maya was a student.
She attended acting workshops, honed her craft, and sought feedback to improve. She believed that acting, much like writing, was a continuous journey of learning and self-discovery.
Her acting endeavors also opened doors to other opportunities.
Maya was invited to talk shows, where she discussed her roles, shared anecdotes from her life, and spoke about the importance of representation in media. She became an advocate for diversity in Hollywood, pushing for more inclusive narratives in casting.
But amidst the glamour and fame, Maya remained grounded.
She never forgot her roots, her struggles, and the lessons she had learned along the way. She saw acting as another platform to tell stories, to give voice to the voiceless, and to challenge stereotypes.
As the years went by, Maya's reputation as a versatile actress grew.
She was recognized not just for her talent but also for her integrity, her commitment to her craft, and her ability to break barriers. Looking back, Maya often marveled at the twists and turns her life had taken. From a young girl in stamps to a celebrated writer and now a recognized actress, her journey was nothing short of extraordinary. And through it all, her passion for storytelling, in all its forms, remained unwavering. The bustling set was alive with activity. Actors rehearsed their lines, crew members adjusted the lighting, and amidst it all, Maya stood, watching intently. She was no longer just in front of the camera, she was now behind it, taking on the role of a director and producer. After years of acting, Maya felt a pull towards a different aspect of storytelling. She wanted to shape narratives, guide performances, and bring her unique vision to the screen and stage. With her vast experience and innate understanding of human emotions, directing and producing seemed like a natural progression. Her first project as a director was a play that delved into the intricacies of family dynamics, love, and loss. Maya was deeply involved in every step of the process. From casting to set design, from script revisions to guiding actors, she poured her heart and soul into the production. The play was a resounding success.
Audiences were moved by the powerful performances, the nuanced storytelling, and the authenticity of the emotions portrayed.
Critics lauded Maya's directorial debut, praising her ability to weave a compelling narrative and elicit stellar performances from her cast.
Buoyed by this success, Maya ventured into film directing.
She chose a script that resonated with her, a story of resilience, hope, and the indomitable human spirit. The challenges of directing a film were different from theater, but Maya embraced them with enthusiasm. She collaborated closely with the cinematographer, discussing shots, angles, and visual storytelling techniques.
She held workshops with the actors, delving deep into their characters and motivations.
And she worked with the music director, ensuring the score complemented the narrative. The film premiered to a packed audience. The applause, the tears, and the standing ovation were a testament to Maya's vision and dedication. The film went on to win awards and was celebrated for its poignant storytelling and powerful direction.
But Maya's journey in Hollywood wasn't limited to directing.
She also ventured into producing. She saw it as an opportunity to champion stories that often went untold, to give a platform to diverse voices, and to challenge the status quo. She set up a production company, bringing together a team of talented writers, directors, and technicians. Together, they produced films and plays that tackled important social issues, celebrated culture, and highlighted the shared human experience. One of her most acclaimed productions was a film that explored the African diaspora, drawing parallels between the experiences of Africans and African Americans. The film was lauded for its insightful storytelling, compelling performances, and its ability to bridge cultural divides. Through her work as a director and producer, Maya left an indelible mark on Hollywood and Broadway. She was celebrated not just for her talent but also for her vision, her commitment to diversity, and her ability to tell stories that resonated with audiences worldwide. As she reflected on her journey, Maya realized that whether it was through writing, acting, directing, or producing, her mission remained the same: to tell authentic stories, to touch hearts, and to inspire change. The Grand Lecture Hall was filled to capacity. Students, professors, and guests sat in anticipation, their eyes fixed on the stage. As Maya walked to the podium, a hush fell over the crowd. She was not just a celebrated writer and actress, she was now a revered lecturer, sharing her wisdom with eager learners.
Maya's journey into the world of academia began with an invitation.
A prestigious university had approached her to give a series of lectures on literature, African American history, and the art of storytelling.
Recognizing the opportunity to inspire and educate the next generation, Maya accepted with enthusiasm. Her lectures were a blend of personal anecdotes, literary analysis, and profound insights. She spoke of her childhood in stamps, the challenges she faced, and the lessons she learned. She delved into the works of great writers, drawing parallels with contemporary issues and encouraging students to find their own voice. One of her most memorable lectures was on the Harlem Renaissance, a cultural and artistic explosion in the 1920s. Maya painted a vivid picture of the era, bringing to life the music, art, and literature that defined it. She spoke of the pioneers like Langston Hughes and Zora Neale Hurston, highlighting their contributions and their legacy. But Maya's lectures were not just about imparting knowledge.
They were interactive sessions, where she encouraged students to ask questions, share their perspectives, and engage in discussions. She believed in the power of dialogue, in the exchange of ideas, and in the importance of critical thinking. Students were captivated by her charisma, her eloquence, and her passion.
They often stayed back after lectures, seeking advice, discussing books, or simply sharing their dreams and aspirations. For many, Maya was more than just a lecturer, she was a mentor, a guiding light. Word of her lectures spread beyond the university. Other institutions invited her to speak, and soon, Maya was traveling across the country, sharing her wisdom with diverse audiences. From Ivy League universities to community colleges, from literature festivals to corporate events, Maya's lectures became a sought-after experience. She also used these platforms to advocate for social change, to highlight the importance of education, and to champion the cause of marginalized communities. She spoke of the civil rights movement, of her experiences in Africa, and of the need for unity and understanding in a divided world. As the years went by, Maya's reputation as an educator grew. She was awarded honorary degrees, recognized for her contributions to literature and academia, and celebrated for her ability to inspire and empower. But for Maya, the true reward was in the impact she had on her students. She reveled in their successes, celebrated their achievements, and took pride in knowing that she had played a small part in shaping their futures. Looking back, Maya often reflected on the power of education. She believed that knowledge was the key to freedom, that learning was a lifelong journey, and that teachers had a sacred responsibility to guide, nurture, and inspire. The cozy room was filled with a diverse group of individuals. Young students, aspiring writers, and curious minds all sat in a circle, eagerly awaiting Maya's words. This was not a formal lecture hall but an intimate workshop, where Maya shared her wisdom, not just as an educator, but as a mentor and guide. These workshops were Maya's way of connecting on a deeper level with those who sought her guidance. They were spaces of open dialogue, where participants could share their stories, voice their concerns, and seek advice on various aspects of life. Maya began each session with a reading from one of her works. Her voice, rich and melodic, would fill the room, drawing everyone into the world she described. After the reading, she would delve into the themes of the piece, encouraging participants to share their interpretations and reflections. One particular workshop focused on the power of resilience. Maya spoke of her own challenges, from the traumas of her childhood to the hurdles she faced in her career. She emphasized the importance of self-belief, of finding one's inner strength, and of leaning on the support of loved ones. A young woman, with tears in her eyes, shared her story of battling depression and seeking purpose. Maya listened intently, offering words of comfort, encouragement, and wisdom. She spoke of the healing power of art, of the importance of seeking help, and of the beauty of new beginnings. In another session, the theme was the art of storytelling. Aspiring writers shared their works, seeking feedback and guidance. Maya, with her keen eye and vast experience, offered constructive criticism, highlighting the strengths and suggesting areas of improvement. She spoke of the importance of authenticity, of finding one's unique voice, and of the responsibility that comes with wielding the pen. But these workshops were not just about imparting knowledge. They were about building connections, fostering a sense of community, and creating a safe space for expression. Participants formed bonds, supporting and uplifting each other, and drawing inspiration from Maya's journey. Maya also held special sessions for educators, sharing her teaching philosophies and methodologies. She emphasized the importance of empathy, of understanding each student's unique needs, and of creating an inclusive and nurturing learning environment. As the workshops gained popularity, Maya began hosting them in various cities, reaching out to wider audiences. She collaborated with schools, community centers, and literary festivals, ensuring that her wisdom reached those who needed it the most. The feedback was overwhelmingly positive. Participants spoke of the transformative impact of these sessions, of the insights they gained, and of the inspiration they drew from Maya's words. For Maya, these workshops were a labor of love. She believed in the power of shared wisdom, in the magic of collective learning, and in the importance of giving back. She saw herself not just as a teacher, but as a fellow traveler on the journey of life, sharing her experiences, lessons, and hopes with those she met along the way. The soft glow of the lamp illuminated the room as Maya sat at her desk, pen in hand. Sheets of paper lay scattered, each bearing lines of poetry, expressions of her soul. For Maya, poetry was more than just words, it was a dance of emotions, a symphony of thoughts. From a young age, Maya had been drawn to the rhythm and beauty of poetry. She remembered reciting verses as a child, feeling the power of words and the emotions they evoked. Now, as an accomplished writer, she was crafting her own poems, giving voice to her experiences, dreams, and reflections. Each poem was a journey. Some days, the words flowed effortlessly, capturing moments of joy, love, and celebration. On other days, the verses were born out of struggle, echoing pain, loss, and resilience. But whether they were melancholic or uplifting, Maya's poems resonated with authenticity and depth. She often drew inspiration from nature. The rustling of leaves, the chirping of birds, and the gentle caress of the wind would find their way into her verses. She wrote of the majestic mountains, the vast oceans, and the serene beauty of the night sky, weaving a tapestry of imagery that transported readers to another world. But Maya's poetry was not just about the external world, it delved deep into the human psyche. She explored themes of identity, race, and womanhood. She wrote of the challenges faced by African Americans, the legacy of slavery, and the quest for freedom and equality. Her poems were a reflection of her life, her struggles, and her triumphs. One of her most celebrated poems spoke of the resilience of the human spirit, of the ability to rise above adversity and soar to new heights. The verses were powerful, evoking a sense of hope and determination. Readers from all walks of life connected with the poem, drawing strength from its message. Maya's poetic style was unique. She blended traditional forms with contemporary themes, creating a fusion that was both timeless and relevant. She played with rhythm, experimented with structure, and used metaphors and similes to paint vivid pictures. But for Maya, poetry was not just about writing, it was about performance. She believed that poems came alive when recited, that the nuances of tone, the cadence of voice, and the emotions of the poet added layers of meaning to the verses. She often performed her poems at events, readings, and literary festivals. The audience would be spellbound, hanging on to every word, feeling the emotions, and getting lost in the world Maya created. Her performances were a blend of drama, music, and poetry, making them a unique and unforgettable experience. As the years went by, Maya's reputation as a poet grew. She was invited to international poetry festivals, collaborated with other poets, and was recognized for her contributions to the world of literature. Her poems were translated into multiple languages, reaching audiences worldwide. Looking back, Maya often marveled at the journey of her verses. From the quiet moments of introspection at her desk to the applause of audiences across the globe, her poems had touched countless hearts, leaving an indelible mark on the world of poetry. The Grand Hall was adorned with flags and filled with a sea of distinguished guests. Politicians, celebrities, and leaders from around the world gathered for a historic event, the inauguration of a new U.S. president. Amidst the pomp and ceremony, one moment stood out: Maya Angelou, taking the stage to recite a poem she had crafted for the occasion. Maya had received the honor of being chosen as the inaugural poet, a testament to her stature in the world of literature and her ability to capture the essence of significant moments. The weight of the occasion was not lost on her. She was to voice the hopes, dreams, and aspirations of a nation at the dawn of a new era.
As she stepped up to the microphone, the crowd fell silent. With grace and poise, Maya began to recite her poem. Her voice, deep and resonant, echoed through the hall, weaving a tapestry of words that spoke of unity, resilience, and the promise of a brighter future. Her poem touched upon the rich tapestry of America's history, its struggles and triumphs, and the diverse voices that shaped its narrative. She spoke of the ancestors, the pioneers, and the everyday heroes who built the nation. She painted a picture of a country standing at the crossroads, ready to embrace change and forge a path of progress. The verses resonated with themes of hope, unity, and collective responsibility. Maya emphasized the idea that every citizen had a role to play in shaping the nation's destiny, that the dream of a better tomorrow was a shared vision. As she recited, the audience was captivated. The power of her words, the depth of her emotions, and the relevance of her message struck a chord with everyone present. When she concluded, the hall erupted in applause, with many moved to tears by the beauty and poignancy of her words. The poem was widely acclaimed and became an integral part of the inauguration's legacy. It was discussed in homes, schools, and public spaces, with people reflecting on its message and drawing inspiration from its verses. But this was not the only time Maya would recite for a president. Her stature as a poet and her ability to capture the zeitgeist of the times led to more invitations. She performed at other significant events, always bringing her unique blend of insight, wisdom, and eloquence to the occasion. For Maya, these performances were more than just recitals, they were opportunities to inspire, to challenge, and to remind leaders of their responsibilities. She saw poetry as a powerful tool for advocacy, for sparking dialogue, and for driving change. As she reflected on these moments, Maya often spoke of the responsibility that came with her platform. She believed that poets had a duty to be the voice of the voiceless, to highlight injustices, and to champion the cause of the marginalized. Through her performances for presidents and her contributions to the world of poetry, Maya Angelou left an indelible mark on the cultural and political landscape. She was not just a poet, she was a beacon of hope, a voice of reason, and a force for change. The sun streamed through the window, casting a warm glow on the room. Maya lay in bed, surrounded by books, notes, and a bouquet of fresh flowers. While her spirit remained indomitable, her body was showing signs of weariness. Maya was facing one of her most personal challenges yet, health struggles. As the years went by, Maya began to experience health issues. At first, they seemed minor, a persistent cough, bouts of fatigue, and occasional aches. But as the symptoms persisted, she realized it was something more serious. A visit to the doctor confirmed her fears. She was diagnosed with a chronic health condition. The news was a blow to Maya. She had always led an active life, traveling, giving lectures, and engaging in various projects. The thought of being slowed down by her health was daunting. But true to her nature, Maya faced this challenge head-on. She began a rigorous treatment plan, often requiring her to visit the hospital for tests and procedures. The medications, while necessary, came with their own set of side effects. There were days when she felt drained, unable to muster the energy to get out of bed. But even in these moments of vulnerability, Maya's resilience shone through. She turned to writing as a therapeutic outlet, penning her thoughts, fears, and reflections. She wrote about the fragility of life, the importance of self-care, and the strength that comes from within. Her close friends and family rallied around her, offering support and comfort. They read to her, shared stories, and ensured she was never alone. Maya often spoke of the healing power of love, of the solace she found in the company of her loved ones. She also sought alternative therapies, exploring meditation, yoga, and holistic healing. These practices brought her a sense of calm and balance, helping her cope with the physical and emotional challenges of her condition. As the months went by, Maya began to see improvements in her health. The treatments were working, and she was regaining her strength. She started venturing out, attending events, and even giving lectures. While she had to make adjustments to her schedule, she was determined not to let her health define her. One of her most memorable appearances was at a university, where she spoke about overcoming adversities. She shared her personal journey, the highs and lows, and the lessons she had learned. The students were captivated, drawing inspiration from her courage and determination. Maya's health struggles also gave her a new perspective on life. She spoke of the importance of listening to one's body, of seeking help when needed, and of cherishing every moment. She became an advocate for health awareness, using her platform to educate and inspire. Looking back, Maya often reflected on this challenging phase of her life. She believed that adversities, while daunting, also brought opportunities for growth, learning, and transformation. Her health struggles were a testament to her spirit, her ability to rise above challenges, and her unwavering zest for life. The gentle hum of the audience filled the auditorium. They were gathered for a special event, a talk by Maya Angelou on overcoming adversities. As she took the stage, there was an air of anticipation. Everyone knew of her recent health struggles, and they were eager to hear her insights. With her signature grace, Maya began, "Life, my dear friends, is filled with challenges. Some are visible, like the ones I recently faced with my health. But many are invisible, battles we fight within our minds and souls." She spoke of her early years in stamps, the racial discrimination she faced, and the trauma that silenced her voice for years. Each adversity, she explained, taught her something valuable. From her childhood challenges, she learned resilience. From her experiences with racism, she learned the importance of fighting for justice. And from her health struggles, she learned the value of self-care and the power of community. Maya emphasized the importance of perspective. Adversities can either break us or make us stronger. It's all about how we choose to view them, she said. She spoke of the importance of seeking support, whether from friends, family, or professionals. No one, she said, should face their battles alone. She also touched upon the healing power of art. For her, writing was a refuge, a way to process her emotions and make sense of her experiences. She encouraged everyone to find their own creative outlet, whether it was writing, painting, music, or dance. As she spoke, the audience was captivated. Her words resonated with many, as they reflected on their own challenges and how they overcame them. Many were moved to tears, finding solace and inspiration in Maya's journey. After her talk, there was a Q&A session. One young woman stood up, her voice trembling. "I'm going through a tough time," she said. "How do you find hope in the face of adversity?" Maya looked at her with compassion. "Dear one," she replied, "hope is something we must cultivate. It's like a tiny flame within us. Even in the darkest times, we must protect and nurture it. Remember, after the darkest night, there's a bright day ahead." The event concluded with a standing ovation for Maya. As people left the auditorium, there was a palpable sense of upliftment. Many felt empowered, ready to face their challenges with renewed vigor. For Maya, the event was a reminder of the impact she could have on others. Through her words and experiences, she could offer comfort, guidance, and inspiration. She realized that while she had faced many adversities, she had also been blessed with the ability to rise above them and help others do the same. As she left the venue, a quote from one of her poems came to mind: "Still, I rise. It was a testament to her spirit, her resilience, and her unwavering belief in the power of the human spirit to overcome any challenge. The grandeur of the White House was unmistakable. Its majestic halls and rooms echoed with the voices of leaders, diplomats, and visionaries from history. On this particular day, it was filled with an air of anticipation. Distinguished guests, politicians, artists, and journalists gathered in the East Room, awaiting a special ceremony. At the center of this gathering was Maya Angelou. Dressed in an elegant gown, she sat with a mix of humility and pride. Today, she was to receive one of the nation's highest honors, the Presidential Medal of Freedom. The Presidential Medal of Freedom is awarded to individuals who have made significant contributions to the security or national interests of the United States, world peace, or cultural endeavors. And Maya, with her vast body of work and activism, was a fitting recipient. As the ceremony began, a hush fell over the room. The president took the stage, speaking warmly about Maya's contributions to literature, civil rights, and the arts. He spoke of her resilience, her ability to capture the human experience in words, and her unwavering commitment to justice and equality. Maya Angelou, he said, is not just a writer. She is a beacon of hope, a voice for the voiceless, and a testament to the power of the human spirit. As he spoke, a montage played on a screen, showcasing highlights from Maya's life, her readings, her speeches, her performances, and her moments with world leaders and celebrities. The montage also featured snippets from interviews, where she spoke about her life, her beliefs, and her vision for a better world. The president then approached Maya, medal in hand. As he placed it around her neck, the room erupted in applause. The weight of the medal was not just physical, it carried with it the recognition and appreciation of a nation. Maya took the microphone, her voice steady and full of emotion. She spoke of her journey, from the small town of Stamps, Arkansas, to the grand halls of the White House. She thanked her mentors, her family, and her readers, who had been with her every step of the way. She also spoke of the responsibility that came with such honors. This medal, she said, is not just for me. It's for every young girl and boy who has a dream, for every writer who dares to tell their story, for every individual who believes in a world of love, peace, and equality. The ceremony concluded with a standing ovation. Guests approached Maya, offering their congratulations and expressing their admiration. Many spoke of how her words had touched their lives, giving them hope and direction. As the evening drew to a close, Maya stood in the White House gardens, gazing at the stars. The medal around her neck gleamed in the moonlight, a symbol of her achievements and her legacy. But for Maya, the true reward was not in medals or accolades. It was in the knowledge that her words had made a difference, that they had inspired, empowered, and uplifted countless souls. The grand hall echoed with applause as Maya Angelou, dressed in a ceremonial robe, walked towards the stage. The occasion was special. She was being awarded an honorary degree from a prestigious university. This was not her first such honor, and it certainly wouldn't be her last. Maya's life and work had garnered her numerous accolades, each one recognizing her immense contributions to literature, culture, and society. As she stood on the stage, the university's chancellor began to read out her achievements. From her groundbreaking autobiographies to her impactful poetry, from her roles in film and theater to her advocacy for civil rights and education, Maya's journey was nothing short of extraordinary. The audience, which included students, faculty, and distinguished guests, listened in awe. Many of the students had grown up reading Maya's works, drawing inspiration from her words and her life. To see her being honored in this manner was a moment of pride and joy. After the chancellor's speech, Maya took the microphone.
Her voice, always so full of warmth and wisdom, resonated through the hall. She spoke of her humble beginnings, of the challenges she faced, and of the mentors and guides who helped her along the way. She emphasized the importance of education, not just in terms of degrees and qualifications, but as a means to broaden one's horizons and understand the world. She also spoke of the responsibility that came with such honors. "These accolades," she said, "are not just for me. They are for every young girl and boy who dreams big, for every writer who dares to tell their story, for every individual who fights for justice and equality." The ceremony concluded with a standing ovation. As Maya left the stage, students rushed to greet her, seeking autographs, selfies, and words of advice. She greeted each one with a smile, taking the time to listen and share. But this was just one of the many honorary degrees and accolades Maya received over the years. Universities from around the world recognized her contributions, awarding her degrees in literature, arts, and humanities. She was also honored by various literary and cultural organizations, receiving awards for her books, her poetry, and her advocacy work. One of her most cherished accolades was the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the highest civilian award in the U.S. The ceremony, held at the White House, was a testament to her impact on American society and culture. As the medal was placed around her neck, Maya felt a mix of pride, gratitude, and responsibility. For her, these honors were not just personal achievements. They were a recognition of the struggles and triumphs of the African American community, of the power of literature to bring about change, and of the importance of staying true to one's beliefs and values. As she reflected on her journey, Maya often spoke of the importance of gratitude. She was thankful for the opportunities she had received, for the mentors who guided her, and for the readers who found solace and inspiration in her words. Through all the accolades and honors, Maya Angelou remained grounded, always remembering her roots and her mission to uplift, inspire, and empower. The school library was buzzing with excitement. Students gathered around a special display dedicated to Maya Angelou. Her books, quotes, and photographs adorned the shelves, inviting young readers to delve into her world. This was just one of countless tributes to Maya's legacy, a testament to her enduring influence on future generations. Maya Angelou's impact extended far beyond her lifetime. Her writings, which spoke of love, resilience, and the human spirit, became essential readings in schools and universities worldwide. Teachers introduced students to her works, using them as tools to discuss themes of identity, race, and empowerment. In one high school, an English teacher organized a Maya Angelou Week. Students studied her poems, enacted scenes from her autobiographies, and discussed the relevance of her writings in today's world. They also explored her role in the civil rights movement, her advocacy for women's rights, and her contributions to arts and culture. The highlight of the week was a poetry recital, where students presented their own poems inspired by Maya's style and themes. The verses spoke of their dreams, challenges, and hopes, reflecting the timeless nature of Maya's influence. But Maya's legacy wasn't limited to the classroom. Young writers and poets saw her as a beacon, drawing inspiration from her journey. Book clubs, literary festivals, and cultural organizations regularly hosted events celebrating her works. Documentaries and films were made, capturing the essence of her life and her impact on society. In one touching tribute, a community center in her hometown was named after her. The center became a hub for arts, literature, and social advocacy, embodying Maya's values and vision. Workshops on writing, theater, and dance were organized, giving young talents a platform to shine. Digital platforms, too, played a role in keeping Maya's legacy alive. Social media was filled with her quotes, snippets from her interviews, and readings of her poems.
Online forums and blogs discussed her works, with readers from different parts of the world sharing their interpretations and reflections. One particular initiative, the Maya Angelou Virtual Library, was launched by a group of young tech enthusiasts. The platform offered free access to her writings, interviews, and lectures. It also featured interactive modules, allowing users to explore themes, characters, and settings in her works. As years turned into decades, Maya Angelou's influence showed no signs of waning. New generations, even those born long after her time, felt a deep connection with her. They saw in her a role model, a guiding light, and a voice that resonated with their own experiences. Parents named their daughters after her, seeing in the name a symbol of strength, grace, and wisdom. Scholars and academics continued to study her works, exploring their relevance in contemporary contexts. Reflecting on Maya's legacy, a renowned literary critic remarked, "Maya Angelou was not just a writer, she was a movement." Her words transcended time and geography, touching hearts and inspiring minds. Her legacy is a testament to the power of literature to shape societies and influence generations. In a quiet corner of a bustling city cafe, two friends, Anna and Liam, sat engrossed in a book. The title read, "The Collected Poems of Maya Angelou." As they read, the words seemed to come alive, transporting them to different times and places, evoking a myriad of emotions. Anna looked up, her eyes glistening. "Every time I read her poems, I feel like she's speaking directly to me," she said. Her words have this incredible power to heal, inspire, and empower. Liam nodded in agreement. "I remember reading Still I Rise during a tough time in my life. It gave me the strength to persevere and believe in myself." Such was the impact of Maya Angelou's words. They resonated with people from all walks of life, transcending age, race, and geography. Her writings became a source of comfort, guidance, and inspiration for countless individuals. In therapy sessions, counselors often used Maya's poems to help clients process trauma, grief, and other emotional challenges. Her writings, which spoke of overcoming adversities, finding one's voice, and celebrating one's identity, provided solace and understanding. In prisons, her autobiographies were introduced as part of rehabilitation programs. Inmates found hope in her journey, drawing parallels with their own lives and seeking redemption and transformation. Educators, too, recognized the transformative power of her words. Schools introduced Maya Angelou reading hours, where students would come together to read and discuss her works. These sessions became platforms for open dialogue, where students shared their experiences, aspirations, and challenges. Artists, musicians, and performers drew inspiration from her writings. Songs were composed, paintings were created, and plays were enacted, all celebrating the themes and messages in Maya's works. One particularly moving tribute was a dance performance titled Caged Bird. Inspired by her iconic poem, the performance depicted the journey of a bird seeking freedom, using dance to explore themes of confinement, struggle, and liberation. But perhaps the most significant impact of her words was on social and political discourse. Maya's writings became rallying cries for various movements, advocating for equality, justice, and human rights. Activists quoted her verses in speeches, marches, and protests, using them to highlight injustices and demand change. Her influence was also evident in the literary world. Emerging writers saw her as a trailblazer, someone who broke barriers and paved the way for diverse voices. Many credited her with inspiring them to take up the pen and tell their own stories. In an interview, a young poet remarked, "Maya Angelou taught me the importance of authenticity. Through her writings, I learned that our stories, no matter how personal, have universal appeal." She showed me that literature has the power to bridge divides and bring people together.
As years passed, Maya Angelou's words continued to shine, their impact undiminished. They became timeless treasures, passed down from generation to generation, their relevance and resonance ever growing. For many, Maya Angelou was more than just a writer.
She was a beacon of hope, a voice of reason, and a testament to the enduring power of words. Her legacy was a reminder that literature, at its best, can touch hearts, change minds, and shape societies.
Chapter 15, Final Reflections.
The golden hues of the setting sun painted the room in a warm glow. Maya sat in her favorite armchair, a cup of tea in hand, gazing out of the window. The serene landscape outside mirrored her inner peace.
As the years had passed, Maya had gracefully embraced age, seeing it not as a decline but as a period of reflection, wisdom, and deep understanding.
She often mused about the journey of life, the ebbs and flows, the joys and sorrows. With age, she felt a deeper connection to her past, a clearer understanding of her present, and a serene acceptance of the future.
In her writings, Maya began to explore themes related to aging.
She wrote about the beauty of wrinkles, each line telling a story of laughter, tears, and experiences. She spoke of the wisdom that came with age, the lessons learned, and the insights gained. One of her poems celebrated the grace of silver hair, seeing it as a crown of honor, a testament to a life well lived. Another spoke of the joy of watching younger generations flourish, of passing on traditions, stories, and values. Maya also reflected on the challenges of aging. She wrote about the physical changes, the slowing down, and the need for self-care. But even in these reflections, there was a sense of gratitude and appreciation for the gift of life and the privilege of growing old. Her perspective on age was a source of inspiration for many. In a world obsessed with youth and beauty, Maya's writings offered a fresh, empowering perspective. They encouraged readers to embrace age with grace, to see it as a phase of growth and enrichment. She often shared her reflections in talks and interviews. Age, she would say, is not just about the number of years we've lived. It's about the experiences we've had, the people we've met, and the wisdom we've gained. It's a badge of honor, a testament to our resilience and strength. Maya also spoke of the importance of staying curious, of continuing to learn and grow. She took up new hobbies, traveled to new places, and engaged in meaningful projects. She believed that age was not a barrier to exploration and discovery. Her home became a hub for gatherings, where friends and family would come together to share stories, sing songs, and celebrate life. Maya loved these moments, seeing them as opportunities to connect, reminisce, and pass on her wisdom. She also became a mentor to younger writers, guiding them, offering feedback, and encouraging them to find their unique voice. She saw this as her way of giving back, of nurturing the next generation of storytellers. As she sipped her tea, Maya felt a deep sense of contentment. She had lived a life full of challenges and triumphs, love and loss, pain and joy. And through it all, she had grown, evolved, and emerged stronger. With age, she had found a deeper purpose, a clearer vision, and a greater appreciation for the beauty of life. She had truly embraced age and wisdom, seeing them as gifts to be cherished and celebrated. The gentle rustling of leaves and the distant chirping of birds created a serene backdrop. Maya sat in her garden, surrounded by blooming flowers and tall trees. It was a place she had spent countless hours, finding solace, inspiration, and connection with nature. As the years had advanced, Maya felt an increasing sense of the impermanence of life. She often reflected on her journey, the legacy she would leave behind, and the inevitable farewell to the world. These reflections were not filled with sadness or fear but with gratitude, acceptance, and a deep understanding of the cycle of life. She began penning her final reflections, a series of poems and essays that captured her thoughts on life, death, and the afterlife. In her writings, she spoke of death not as an end but as a transition, a passage to another realm. One of her poems described life as a beautiful book, with each chapter representing different phases, experiences, and lessons. Death, she wrote, was merely turning the last page, concluding one story and perhaps beginning another. Maya also wrote about the memories she would carry with her, the moments of joy and sorrow, the people she had loved, and the lessons she had learned. She expressed her hope that her words, her stories, and her wisdom would continue to inspire and guide future generations. She often spoke to her close friends and family about her wishes for her final days. She wanted it to be a celebration of life, filled with music, poetry, and shared memories. She hoped that those she left behind would remember her with love, joy, and gratitude. As the days went by, Maya continued to engage with the world, sharing her reflections, attending events, and connecting with loved ones. But she also spent more time in solitude, meditating, praying, and preparing for her final journey. One evening, as the sun set, casting a golden hue over the garden, Maya felt a deep sense of peace. She closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and whispered a prayer of gratitude. It was as if she was saying a silent farewell to the world, ready to embrace the next phase of her journey. When the news of her passing spread, there was an outpouring of grief, love, and admiration. People from all over the world paid tribute to her, sharing their favorite quotes, poems, and memories. Candlelight vigils were held, and special events were organized to celebrate her life and legacy. In accordance with her wishes, her farewell ceremony was a beautiful blend of music, poetry, and shared memories. Friends, family, and admirers gathered to pay their respects, to remember the incredible life she had lived, and to draw inspiration from her teachings. Maya Angelou's farewell to the world was not an end but a continuation of her legacy. Her words, her wisdom, and her spirit continued to live on, touching hearts, inspiring minds, and reminding everyone of the beauty, complexity, and impermanence of life.